content creators. As a stat I showed you at the beginning of this video, it shows you how this medium has grown exponentially to the point where almost everyone is looking to do videos for views and subscribers. Now, the views and the subscribers are the bloodline in what we do. We're looking to create content for the views of millions in the hopes that during this process, we gain the subscribers and the viewership we need in order not to make our name for ourselves, but eventually profit from what we do. But behind the scenes, tension tends to rise. I myself am part of a content crew known as Horror Fiend TV, and sometimes we have disagreements, but most important, past that tension, past those disagreements, are unification of what we have to do together in order to create content for you, the viewers. But what happens when the tension behind the scenes, the hidden emotions that are kept away from the viewers, comes to the forefront? What happens when content creating creates something else? Enter Milk, one half of the content creators known as the Prank Bros. Milk is seen as the quiet one compared to his partner, Seven, who happens to be a little bit more charismatic and, according to the viewers, more beloved than Milk. But what he really wants to do is not only celebrate Milk, but throw him a prank that he does not see coming. What Seven doesn't realize is, well, Milk has a plan of his own, a prank that it's been building for a while, and something inside Milk is about to be unleashed. Seven enlists the help of a friend of his, some guy in his acting class, who he tells Milk that, well, he just happened to meet him in a convenience store and they hit it off. But in the midst of the argument between Milk and Seven, we hear a little commotion where when they run down, that fella pulls out a gun and shoots one of Milk's friends. In the process, he is shaking, freaking out, but they jump up, scream happy birthday. But what they don't realize is that Milk still has intentions of what he's going to do. And what I like about this film is when we get into the party, there's this conversation that we see a little bit of foreshadowing where they play this game that never have I ever. And one of the questions was, kill an animal. So when it came to Milk's turn, he kind of mentioned that he killed a cat. But it was because he wasn't supposed to. This is a foreshadowing of the events that we're about to watch, because if you watch a lot of serial killer films, for some reason when kids are young, they tend to attack animals and kill animals, which is one of the red flags when it comes to the serial killer films that we've watched and we've heard about. Now, as the night continues, we get a visit from this elderly older man who complains about the noise, stating that he has kids next door that have to go to school tomorrow. This causes a little bit of a weird moment where the man eventually enters the house, walks around, leaves the house, but this man's presence is later seen in the film when, in the next morning, he shows up in their house. But what we soon realize is the fact that, well, this is all part of Milk's plan to get even with Seven. But what were the intentions that Milk had? What was the reasoning for what he was doing? You see, Milk was kind of jealous and envious of how Seven was portrayed and seen by the viewers of the channel. They always liked him, and every time Milk had an idea or concept that he wanted to share with Seven, Seven disagreed with, and they never did it. So there was a lot of resentment built inside Milk, but at the same time, there was something dark amiss that Milk was doing. What we later find out in the film was, well, Milk had this infatuation with serial killers. We see Milk kind of play a prank on Seven, which we thought was a prank, but in actuality, it was a setup to lead Seven to not only break down and fall apart, but leave him weak enough to quite honestly, become one of Milk's next victims. We see this scene where Milk goes into, I mean, all serial killers have it. They have this place that they find their comfort zone, their safe place. Well, Milk wasn't alone in that safe place because he had kidnapped Laura, which was another scene in the film, which I kind of liked. It was a little disturbing, but it was the fact that you saw this other side of Milk, who ironically had to put on a mask because the mask made him happy. Most of the serial killers films we watch, all the slashers have masks, and cannot see, but I am wearing the greatest slasher, Michael Myers. But what I like about this film was simply that there was a lot of twists and turns. The Curry Barker's portrayal of Milk was amazing in this film. We got the whole thing of him being excited about this prank, this plan he had set in motion, and the fact that there was interruptions, his reactions felt realistic. A lot of the films we've seen where a killer's plan kind of doesn't go the right way, we don't see this genuine reaction. Like the scene where he was, they were getting the shovels. Cop comes, he's freaking out because he was parked in a handicap spot. At the same time, the cop was a little, curious what's going on with you. You seem a little tense. And he said, I just want to go home. And here's Seven coming out of Home Depot with a shovel and a pickaxe. And he's gesturing to leave. But his reaction, he was freaking out. He was scared. Because one of the things about serial killers is a lot of them, they don't want to get caught, but they like the feeling of the near misses by the authorities. Now, I do want to go in depth in this film, but at the same time, I do want you to watch this film. What I like about this film also is Curry Barker is an independent filmmaker who, on an $800 budget, created this film that has become a found footage sensation. I'm a massive found footage fan, as you can tell, but I'm also a massive independent filmmaker fan. And I am envious of the fact that he made this film with $800 and the way it looks so very well done. Now, Milk's main motivation was to make Seven's life a living hell. He kept tormenting him and torturing him and basically getting under his nerves. Now, I give Seven credit for the time is he did whatever Milk wanted him to do, which is one of the things Milk wanted to do because he continually recorded everything that Seven was doing because Seven was going to look like an accomplice in this film. But at the same time, when we get to the climactic end of this movie, now the runtime is like an hour and 2 minutes. It's a very good runtime for found footage because a lot of movies, not just found footage films, tend to put a little bit too much extra stuff into the films that kind of turn us off and we don't want to see, to the point where we sit there and think, was this really needed in this film? An hour and 2 minutes, and we see the change in character from Milk. At the beginning of the film, he seems shy. I mean, granted, even though he's prank bros, they do pranks on people, but he seems very timid, very shy. But as the movie progresses, you see the change in character in Milk, where the fact that he becomes so confident, very overconfident of how things are going to play out. Now, he does have an infatuation with serial killers, as I mentioned earlier. And just like every serial killer, they want to be notorious. They want to be well known. He is at the point where he's trying to do one of the greatest serial killer sprees in a long time. This is what aids the movie. Now, Milk was good, but it was good to have a counter to him in Cooper Tomlinson, who portrayed Seven. I like the fact that Seven went from this brash, egotistical, just look at me spotlight to I just don't want the spotlight on me anymore. And you see his change of character. This film had those two paths. One basically going into a different level of confidence, the other one going on a downward slope, which is a good mixture in this film. So yes, I think you know where I'm going with this film. This film is a found because one, it feels different. I mean, yes, we've seen a lot of found footage films that are similar to this one, But I think the dynamic of this one was it did feel different because at first you get the whole they're creating pranks on one another and basically they want to get the best of the other. But in reality, it was the fact that Milk had this thing he was hiding that wanted to get out. And playing this prank on Seven was the perfect way for what was living inside him, knowing that his skin ready to come out to make itself well known to the world. This film is something that I feel like us found footage fans should definitely rally behind because it is an independent filmmaker. It is someone who did not have the big budget from Hollywood, but was able to create something with such a small budget that right now people are talking about it. People are talking about this film, and this film is worth talking about. Currybarker not only played the main character Milk, he directed the film and he wrote the film. This guy deserves a nod for what he did. And I'm anxious to see what else he has in store because he's had a couple short films leading up to this one. And now I want to go back and watch the short films. So, Currybarker, if you watch this episode, let me know where I can watch those because I do want to watch what led you to this film. I myself, with Ricky Van, aka Ricky Grimes, are aspiring filmmakers. We haven't gotten to that point yet. We've done 3 short films, but we do want to do basically our first feature. And seeing someone like this, seeing someone who's capable of doing it with such a small budget, and the success it's having now is very inspiring for us aspiring filmmakers. I will leave the link below so you can watch the movie. So, what I want for you horror fiends to do, and you found footage fanatics like me, let's support this film. Let's make sure this film reaches 1 million views. It's almost there. It's almost at 500K. Let's push it. So I'm hoping that this episode helps elevate this film because this film is a very fun film to watch. It grasps your attention. The fact that it still only needed 1 hour and 2 minutes to do it is successful. Now, we might do a full review of this on Three Corners of Horror. I gotta talk to the fellas. Maybe they will. But Ricky Van, aka Ricky Grimes, already watched this film and he enjoyed it too. And we're just waiting for Joe the Psychologist to see if he wants to watch this film. But definitely watch this film. Like I said, currently streaming free on YouTube. This is JR for Horror Fiend TV. Till next time, watch the film, like, subscribe, and share because we have a lot coming your way. And yes, I'm excited to see what you think about this film. Hashtag independent filmmaker. Hashtag support this film. Hashtag milk and cereal. This is JR. Peace.
What do you mean you don't like it? What do you mean you don't like it?